It seems suspicious. You don't like things being like that. Suspicious.
Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a shit. Kuno doesn't...
An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite. Because there's a secret door hidden behind the panels of Eternite. There it is. You see a shabby little door.
What is this then? A tool shed? Let's investigate.
Be still, my beating heart. It's amphetamine. Sweet amphetamine. The lieutenant isn't studying the powder in the mirror. He's studying you.
Perhaps not. This is below our pay grade, detective. However, see that ladder there? It's probably another way into the industrial harbor, no?
Looks like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging on the railing here.
Yes, it's probably yours. It bears the RCM insignia, and you have a habit of being careless with your equipment. You could probably make the jump. You look like you've done some track and field in your day.
The wind is aggressive up here. The lieutenant looks at the enormous crane towering in the distance. Then he turns back to the sad piece of fabric flapping in the wind.
The cloak? I do think it's yours, yes. As to whether you should go for it? Well, it doesn't seem too dangerous. 2 meter stops. Whenever you're ready to do it, I'll be right behind you.
The cloak looks like a bag of goodies floating in the wind. Who knows what its pockets may hide? tarpaulin cloak is still caught on the railing. No one has claimed it for their own. Nope, no. That's still too high. What were you thinking? You're not a gymnast. You're a boxer. And you've climbed way too high up here. You could have died there. Shit. I'm failing you. This wasn't part of our deal.
Hey! What happened? I understand. We can always come back when you are feeling better.
The wind is aggressive up here. The lieutenant looks at the enormous crane tower. Then he turns back to the sad piece of fabric flapping in the wind. A tarpaulin cloak. The wind is aggressive up here. The lieutenant looks at. Then he turns back to the sad piece of fabric flapping in the wind. The wind is aggressive up here. The lieutenant looks at the enormous. Then he turns back to the sad piece of fabric flapping in the wind.
There must be another way into the building.
Hey, what's that noise down there?
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat. smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbor. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Relax. She meant it in jest.
I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But
It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines Group. Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective? I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please. Oh, dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Of course. But before we do, officers, let me be perfectly clear. The situation is extremely volatile. The sooner we can speak about this lynching business, the better. Of course, Detective.
This coin-operated viewer is facing south. The instruction manual says to insert 25 centimes and pull the handle. Why place a tourist attraction in the middle of such poverty?
There was a revitalization project in 49. A design studio tried restoring Martinez to its pre-war glory. It didn't stick. They got as far as the street lamps and the statue on that intersection. Then something went sour. I suspect that something was Everard Clare, the union leader. He muscled them out. It's how it usually goes around here. We should have done something about the union 10 years ago. That ship has sailed, officer.